What's up guys, it's your boy Siege Skate back at it again with another Christmas complete. And you know I always got that thing on me. Rockstar, why don't you hook a brother up? Today we got a Flip Matt Berger Pro model. It is 8.25 inches wide, 32 inches long, and a 14.25 inch wheelbase. I also have independent Stage 11 hollow 144 trucks, so they are also 8.25 inches wide to match the deck. I have Spitfire Formula 4 Conical fulls, 54mm 101 Duro, so they're a little hard. I have Bronson RAW Bearings, which are the shieldless ones, and they're made to be shieldless, so they're a little tougher than normal bearings. And man, do these things go. I'm pretty excited about the way this board looks and feels. It's a really good shape. Kind of rounded out nose, a little smaller of a tail, and the concave is, I would say, medium to almost mellow. And I don't like my boards too mellow, but I also don't like them too steep. So I really think I'm going to enjoy the way this board feels. Also, I knew I wanted to do some kind of cutout or design on this Griptape, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted because I don't like huge, fat lines on my board anywhere where there's too much wood instead of the grip. So I figured the flip would be kind of too big to cut out. So I decided that I was just going to cut out the !exclamation point because I thought that would look pretty cool. So that's what you see me doing here, is kind of eyeing it up and, you know, drawing some lines, starting to make the cutouts. It's definitely a process, but it's worth it in the end. When you're putting the grip down, especially for these cutout type things, you always want to kind of line it up first and just stick that edge of it. And then as you slowly put it down, you kind of go from the middle of the board out and then middle of the board towards the ends. That way you don't get any bubbles. With the mob grip, it makes it pretty easy because they have the perforated holes throughout the entire grip. So even if you have a bubble, you can kind of roll it out with a wheel, or use your hand to roll it out with the wrapper on top of it. Like I was saying, this whole process definitely a little tedious and tough, but as long as you take your time and kind of just visualize it in your head before you put it down and officially stick it to the board, you can definitely make it happen. You'll see me kind of tap it a bunch of times and line it up here because I was just kind of trying to make sure it was as flat as possible, as well as being flush with the other cutouts, because you're not going to get them perfect because you're always going to cut a little uneven. And then if you use the edge of the grip tape, they're not always perfectly finished, so you just got to get as best you can. Line it up, stick it, roll it out. Now you see me using a silver tool here, and fortunately they have a file on the top of the tool. You can use a screwdriver or a wrench, either one will work just as well. And basically what you're doing is just kind of sanding down the edge of the grip tape. You want to seal that grip tape on the board, and you also want to create almost like a crease. That way when you use the razor blade, it's kind of easier to cut off. And you'll notice I cut towards myself almost always in these videos. That's just because it's more comfortable for me. However, in terms of safety, you should cut away from yourself. But whatever works for you, just be safe. Boom. See, I told you that hard work would pay off. Now you'll see me taking the excess grip tape that I cut off, and what you do here is again sand down the edges of the board. You're just basically completing that seal of the glue to the deck, and also you want to sand down the edges. Even if you have any cutouts, you want to sand down the edges of the cutouts, because if not, they have more of a tendency to peel up, especially on the edges of the board. When you bounce them off the concrete or the street, whatever, it can kind of chip your board sometimes, and other times will pull the grip up. So what you see me doing here is I took a little nail and I'm poking them through each of the hardware holes to get them started. After I do that, I'll again take a bolt from the hardware pack and I'll poke that through a few times. That way you can get rid of the excess grip tape in the holes, because otherwise when you go to tighten your hardware, sometimes it doesn't get fully flush, or sometimes it bubbles up a little bit of the excess grip tape there, so it's best to get as much off as you can before you tighten the bolts. I got the independent stage 11 hollow trucks, the 144s. They have a hollow kingpin as well as a hollow axle to give you an overall lighter truck. Indies turn very well. They're one of my favorite trucks I've ever tried. And now you'll see me putting the 4 hardware bolts through the holes. Once you have those through, you can line your truck up and put that on. Once your truck is on, you want to hand tighten the bolts basically around the full truck. You know, just kind of tighten them up so it's not going to fall off. Once you have all the nuts on the bolts, it's time to go ahead and tighten them. And at this point, you just want to tighten them down until they become flush with the wood. Sometimes you tighten in a cross pattern just to make sure the truck kind of sinks down evenly. You don't want to tighten them too much, because then the bolt will dig into the wood and this will weaken your deck. As you see here, I'm checking the bolts to see how flush they are. They weren't fully flush, so I'm going to tighten them a little bit more, but like I said, you want to be careful to not tighten them too much. And now it's time for the other truck. Same process, different truck. And again, I have the Spitfire Formula 4 full conical wheels. They are 54 millimeters and 101 Duro. This means they are a little bit harder. A lot of people skate between 99 and 101s. Your 101s are going to be faster, but if you have a slippery skate park, they're also going to slip out a little more than your 99s would. We got the Bronson RAW shieldless bearings. These things look really cool because they already don't have shields. They sound good, they spin good, and they're just overall awesome. Can't wait to shred these on this board. Now it's time to press the bearings into the wheel. With the shieldless bearings, you want to make sure the shieldless side is pointing to the outside of the wheel and the inner race to the inside of the wheel. So the first part, you put the bearing down on the truck, put the wheel on, and then push down with your hands. Then I'll spin it a little bit, push down again to make sure the bearing has sunk in evenly. Then once that's secure, you'll flip it around and do it again with the other bearing. When you're putting your wheels back on, you want to put down the washer first, then the wheel, then the other washer, then the axle nut. And personally, I tighten these to a point where there's a little bit of play with the wheel. It's just kind of a personal preference thing. I feel like they spin better that way, and when you have a little bit of a play when you land, I feel like it's a little more forgiving. Also, you will notice how I am putting the graphics inward on my trucks. That is also a personal preference thing. It's completely up to you how you want to rock your wheels. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's your board, you do you. Now my board's finished. I love the way it came out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go out there and skate every single day, progress every single day, and be the best person you can be. And if you feel like it, you could show some love, leave a like, a comment, subscribe to my channel. If you don't feel like it, that's okay too. We're still friends. Peace.